What is going on, everybody? Episode 5 of Married at First Sight. We're here to recap it all. But before we jump into that, I want to hear your thoughts on the couples this season. Who is your favorite and least favorite couple so far this season? You know, I think it's probably going to be hard for some of you to pick a favorite because yikes. And like, there's going to be some major competition for worst couple. It might be easier to try to pick out worst individual, but anyways, let's leave that behind and get into tonight's episode. Let's just start with Lyndsey and Mark. They start out, it's pretty clear that they had sex. They seem all happy and giddy. Things are going pretty well for them. You know, they go and then they have the pina colada. Mark the Shark making the pina coladas was kind of hilarious. You know, he had the sunglasses on, looked like he was having fun. They were having a good time, but kind of starts to just go downhill from there. Like, they peaked real early this episode. We hit that one moment where Lyndsey brings up how Mark is a people pleaser, and she just sounds disgusted by it. Like, absolutely disgusted that he's a people pleaser. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, Lyndsey, you are the person that he's going to be pleasing. Like, don't you want that in your life? Like trying to make it this big negative for him when it just isn't. Yeah, maybe not everybody in the world can be a people pleaser, but that doesn't mean that you need to rule that person out as your potential significant other. Felt very weird. And then from there, you know, we get to see Lyndsey saying that she's in love. She's in love with Mark, and very clearly Mark is not. Mark is like thinking about, like, is this right? You know, is this behavior that I'm seeing okay? And yeah, so we're gonna kind of skip past the boat incident for right now. Just go down to the end of the episode where, you know, Mark sets up a romantic dinner for them, and at the dinner he says that he wants to slow things down, and Lyndsey was not here for it. Lyndsey, like, her attitude changed drastically towards Mark after that comment. And you know, I think Mark even could have just like smoothed things over just by saying, like, hey, I love where we're at right now, but moving forward, I want things to progress at a slower pace. And you know, what Lyndsey interpreted what Mark said was, you know, I want to go back to square one. I want to undo everything that's been done and start over. And that was not what he was saying. You know, obviously he is pulling back in the relationship, and based on what we've seen from Lyndsey so far, you can't blame him. You really can't. And, you know, after he says that, she just got worse. Like, she was mean. She was just being straight up mean to him. You know, she was at the dinner saying all this stuff about how, well, you fart with the door open and you clog the toilet and this and that, and how, and like, that wasn't even as bad. It's when they get back to the hotel room, and as soon as he walks out of the room, she's calling him an idiot, calling him stupid. And it's like, you have to be aware that he's going to see this at some point. Like, he is going to see you calling him an idiot, calling him stupid when this airs. So even if things work out between you, like, how is that supposed to make him feel? How is, like, his friends and family supposed to feel when they see that? Just very bizarre. And you know, she should have never been cast for this show. Like, I think that's been said over and over and over. But yeah, this is just someone who they cast to stir up as much drama as possible. And so far, it is being very successful. Let's jump over to let's jump over to Katina and Isaac. I'm not willing to make that name change just yet. We saw way too much Isaac this episode, and I do not like Isaac. I do not like Isaac, and honestly, I'm starting to like Katina a little bit less as well as we went through this episode. First thing, you know, Katina, she's made lots of comments about cuddling and that Isaac isn't a good cuddler. And she kind of described what she wanted out of that cuddle experience. She doesn't want to cuddle with the person. She wants a body pillow wrapped around her. That is what she wants. She doesn't want another person sweating. Well, I'll tell you, if you go body on body with somebody all night long, you're gonna sweat. Both people are gonna sweat. It's not gonna be just, yeah, it's too hot. Two bodies, it's too hot. You can be close, you can cuddle, but to be glued to each other all night long, there is going to be some sweat. You're gonna have to deal with that, or get yourself a body pillow. You want to cuddle? Get the body pillow. The gym, the trip to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym with Isaac. That's what I learned. I don't know about anybody else out there. That's not somebody I want to go to the gym with. That's what I learned. Did not look like Katina was enjoying herself. And then later on in the episode, we find out that he wanted to make it terrible for her to see how she would react if she would say oh, I don't want to do this. And it almost came across as he wants her to fight. He wants her to blow up. He wants her to get mad. He wants her going after Lyndsey. He wants all those things. And I don't think those are components of a successful marriage. Especially when you're trying to instigate moments where your significant other gets angry. You're intentionally trying to cause those, not healthy behavior. The boat. We got to talk about the boat because, obviously the issue from the airplane got brought back up. I mean, maybe these people just need to not go on boats and planes and trains. Just stay off of modes of transportation together, and maybe that will improve this whole situation. But anyways, I really did not like Katina on the boat. She was mean to Lyndsey. Just straight up, she was mean. No matter what happened on the plane, and it did come out in the after party that Lyndsey was very much the instigator of things on the plane. Lyndsey was pushing those buttons, prodding Isaac, provoking that conflict. But I didn't feel like that was the case here on the boat. We had Alyssa there being that cheerleader, that sort of mean girl cheerleader for Katina. Basically, Alyssa was that person who was like, oh yeah, screw that girl, she's the worst. Just kind of what your friend would say to you while you were drunk at the bar and somebody did something that you didn't like. That's what was going on there, and it just added fuel to that fire. Katina comes back, and she was mean to Lyndsey, and I didn't like it. It doesn't matter, especially when Katina's gonna go and say to Lyndsey, doesn't matter what happened to you when you were 2-year-old, 5-year-old. You need to get over it. You're a 35-year-old woman, and if that's the case, Katina, why couldn't you get over what happened on the airplane? If that's your expectation of Lyndsey, why doesn't that apply to you? Yeah, did not like it, and Katina definitely went down a few notches in my book over that incident. Now let's jump to the end of the episode. Isaac and Katina go on a date, and Isaac's saying how, he's okay with waiting and developing their relationship, building that emotional connection. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is the man who on his wedding night was telling everybody how he was ready to have sex with his wife. So I'm not buying it. Isaac is saying all the right things. It's like he's just reading off a script. And for somebody who has his past, I totally missed the never have I ever. Well, we'll get back to that after this. Somebody with his past, like, how can you believe that, he's just this smooth talking, well intentioned person when you know what his past was, relationships with cheating and sleeping around and all that. But anyways, I guess they're in love now. And let's jump back to the boat for the never have I ever. Isaac was going out of his way to make himself look bad. Like, he was asking, like, I forget what the question was, but like, he asked the question just to make himself look like an idiot. And I was like, what are you doing, man? What on earth are you doing? It makes no sense whatsoever. But he did it, and everybody was like, what is going on here? Even Katina was giving him some looks, but she seems to think that, hey, who cares? That's all in the past. Let's move forward. And with that, let's move forward with this recap. Jamina and Michael, not a good episode for these two. They're still my favorite couple, but whoa, did they ever take steps back this week? We see now Michael is just an extreme overthinker. I'm an overthinker. My wife is an overthinker, so I have some experience in this topic. It is part of life. Some people like me, you just can't get out of your head. Always running scenarios, always thinking about what's happening, what could happen, what bad things could happen, what good things could happen. If a burglar broke into my house right now, would I be able to pick my camera stand up and knock them out? Like, that's been in my head. Like, it's in your head. You can't stop. And it's not like Jamina seems to think like, well, just stop doing it. You can't. There's medication and stuff that you can take to kind of counteract some of those things, but ultimately that's who he is. That's part of what Michael is, and same with the negativity. And Jamina, in my opinion, does not understand Michael's negativity. She views it as Michael expects the worst thing to happen. And that's not the case. Michael has just thought of the worst thing happening as a possibility. He doesn't expect it to happen. He's just thought about it. And there are lots of people who are like that. You even say thinking about phoning someone on the phone, you're running that in your head, through your head, and all the bad things that could go on that phone call. That doesn't mean you expect those things to happen. You're just aware that they're the possibility. So that's where we started from. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, apparently Michael woke up in the morning and demanded an apology from Jamina for cutting him off while he was talking on the boat. And of course, there were cameras there. Cut to the shot. Jamina did not cut Michael off. In his head, that's probably how he perceived the situation. But, what we saw on camera, there was no cutting off there. There was no Jamina talking over Michael. Did not happen. And Michael wants an apology. Jasmine not having it, not here for the apology. And all of a sudden she says she wants out. Cut to them trying to have their romantic dinner date, and it did not go well. It was just the same, basically rehashed arguments and some like very half-baked apologies and accepted apologies that just didn't go well. And in like sitting there watching it, just Michael had a very, very bad point of view on their entire conversation, their entire situation, what happened on the boat. And he probably needs to be able to talk through that. And he's not really getting that right now. He's in his head about not wanting to screw things up. And ultimately, it could cause the downfall of the relationship. Hopefully, they can turn things around, but these felt like major steps back for Jamina and Michael. Good news is, they looked pretty happy together on the preview for the next episode, so maybe this is something that they can put behind them. Next up, Alyssa and Chris. I wrote down a important quote from Alyssa at the start of the episode. Why is this happening to me? Everything she thinks about is me, I. She's not thinking about Chris. She's not thinking about a future partner. She's thinking about her, what she wants. And ultimately, her selfishness never even allowed this relationship to breathe. Never even gave it a chance. She has no clue. She doesn't even have a clue about who Chris is. And she's never going to find out because he wasn't hot enough for her. That is the ultimate level of shallowness. Like, that is how shallow this woman is. Yeah, we even see her basically saying things about how they're going to try to make her look bad on camera. And it's like, Alyssa, you're doing that all yourself. She has mentioned several times about how her and Chris's values don't even align and how bad of a match they are. And it's like, Alyssa, how do you even know that? You haven't even had a proper conversation with the man. Like, you spent like basically one half night not hating him, and then you decided that you hated him and the relationship was over. They did sit down for a conversation this episode, and Alyssa mentions that she saw a psychic, and Chris immediately starts laughing. You don't have to be, not everybody has to be into psychics, and not everybody has to believe in that stuff, but if you're trying to have any degree of relationship with somebody and they're into that, whether it's horoscopes, psychics, whatever, it doesn't even matter, even sports, like whatever the thing is, like just don't belittle that thing. Don't laugh at that thing. Like, if somebody who's a friend of yours or that you're going on a date with says like, hey, I'm into cryptocurrency, don't start laughing at them. Like, you don't have to also be like, yeah, I'm into cryptocurrency too. But don't just immediately laugh at them. But obviously, Chris has now checked out of this relationship as well. Don't blame him. Alyssa never gave him a shot. And at one point, Alyssa said that the psychic told her that her future partner was going to have, I think, beautiful eyes and an eagle tattoo. And Chris should have just said, I have an eagle tattoo. I would have loved that. That would have been absolutely amazing. Like, just even if you don't have the eagle tattoo, just say, oh yeah, I got an eagle tattoo. Like, just to see what the look on her face would have been. And then we have a little beef to pick with both the show and Alyssa. Why are we trying to body shame Chris? Why are we trying to, even with like at the start where they're trying to get that bad shot of his teeth to try to make him look ugly. why is the show doing that? You know, it's bad enough that we got Alyssa spouting off about how disgusting this man is, but the production crew and the camera people are just going all in on it too. Like it's some big joke, and it's okay to just shame people for how they look. Alyssa, you're a disgusting human being, and the production crew, camera guys, what you did to Chris was also disgusting. And then we could, like, I think their sort of last thing was Alyssa basically complaining about having to potentially be near him. Yeah, that's about all we need to know about this couple. They're done. Like, get them off our screens, move on. Like, honestly, I would be fine with just rematch Chris, like, right now. Like, just, you can find somebody, phone somebody up and be like, we got a match for you. Have them show up and, like, just see what happens. Like, get rid of this dud couple and move on. Like, get in, we're so early into the show, just get us a new couple. Like, even if it's not Chris, just bring in a new couple, like, whatever. I think it would be kind of amazing if they would just say, like, hey, this couple didn't work, we're gonna replace them. Next up, last couple of the week, Noi and Steve. They're probably the best couple right now, right? Like, who's better than Noi and Steve at this point? You know, everybody else seems like they're having problems. They have some issues. And these two just not as much. I think they're going to have issues as we get deeper into this process. But right now, their big issue, Noi doesn't like to camp and Steve likes to camp. Not that big of an issue. You can find a workaround about that. Another thing I want to point out here is Steve, don't feed cheese to someone who's lactose intolerant. It's not something that, you know, she just didn't try hard enough at. You know, like she's allergic to it. Don't give people stuff they're allergic to. Like, if you know somebody who's allergic to, like, strawberries, don't be like, hey, you should try a strawberry to see if they would still make you die. You're allergic to bees, you know, but maybe you got better. So let's go and get stung by a bunch of bees to see. No, don't do that. Their poop conversation was kind of funny. I think Steve referenced to it as, you know, having to go take a meeting. It was like usually poop conversations, not that funny. This one, kind of funny. There was a semi I love you dropped, wasn't received well. Noi said, hey, I think I'm starting to fall in love with you. Steve said, okay. Not the best response. You could have come up with something better. You know, you didn't even have to say, I'm falling in love with you too. He could just say, like, I'm definitely starting to, my feelings are growing stronger for you. Like, that's pretty vague. That doesn't verge into the L word. But obviously Noi wasn't too happy with that answer. From there, they kind of seemed to grow a lot closer over the course of the episode, and wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the next couples to consummate that marriage. Alyssa and Chris, though, nah, they probably won't be one of those couples. Anyways, that is it for tonight, everybody. As always, thank you so much for watching. Maybe we'll get a marriage out of this season. Who knows? It's almost looking like we could go a big 0 for 5 for the season at this point, which, yeah, when the matches are this bad, what can you expect? All right, everybody, that's it for me tonight. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we will see you later.